TikTok has 1.2 billion users globally. Yeah, billion. So it's no surprise that someone that may have ended up on your For You page is also a horrible criminal, or maybe ended up being a victim of a horrific crime. For this episode, we're switching it up a bit. Even though we will be talking about criminals, I am including some interesting stories where maybe the person wasn't necessarily horrible, but their country's laws would consider so. Or maybe how with the help of TikTok, murderers were actually found, and even how TikTok comments, yes, the actual comments that you guys leave and make fun of me on, were reported by TikTok themselves, and the people ended up going to jail. Either way, I wanted to bring that up to tell you guys that this episode is a little bit different, and honestly, just to spark conversation. And if you're not subscribed yet, don't even worry about that. I'll earn your subscription by the end of this video. With that being said, let's get started with the video. Ratu Thalisa told Jesus Christ to get a haircut and was jailed. On October 2nd of 2024, a Muslim TikToker with over 440,000 followers named Ratu Thalisa responded to a comment that told her to get a haircut in order to look more like a man. This was likely a transphobic comment considering that she is trans. I couldn't find whether she read that TikTok comment like through the live stream or if she went live to address the TikTok comment, but either way, she was live when the incident happened. She held up a picture of Jesus Christ on another phone and told him to cut his hair. I'm assuming this was made to counter-argue the commenter who told her to cut hers. 2 days after this, 5 Christian groups filed a complaint to the police for blasphemy, which ended up with the police arresting her 4 days later. On March 10th, the district court in the city of Medan in North Sumatra found Ratu guilty of spreading hate speech against Christianity. The court also ordered her to pay 100 million Indonesian rupees, which equates to 6,200 USD, in fine for the offense. The court said that her comments could disrupt, quote, public order and religious harmony in society. She was initially charged and indicted with spreading hate speech against a particular religion and committing blasphemy. She was given 2 years and 10 months in prison due to this. And since Indonesian law doesn't explicitly protect transgender people from description or harassment, I can only assume they placed her in a male jail cell. Which I'm only assuming because I wasn't able to find any article talking about where she was placed. But if so, that's just incredibly inhumane and would just make her a target and would likely lead to death. I did actually find her TikTok account, and her last TikTok was posted on October 9th, which, if my math is correct, this was the day before she went to jail. I had to use Google Translate to decipher what she read, so apologies for the broken English. This world is transitory. Whether we like it or not, we have to leave it. If one day you hear that Iggy is no longer around, I hope this account will still be with you guys, because my son, with Allah's permission, will continue the NTalk accounts. I'm gonna assume the social media accounts or the TikTok accounts. You guys just remember the good things about me. Don't bring up bad things about me when you see my son live or posting, because I'm sure I'll have sex. If I don't take long, I'll go to you guys. Personally, I think the translation messed up there. I don't know why sex was mentioned. Everything is the only one who can throw it away for all the customers. From my understanding, it seems like she's saying that the world is progressing and that her son is going to be taking over her social media accounts. It also seems like she's running a business, and I'm assuming that the son would also be taking care of the business. I really do wish her the best in jail, because not only is the world already scary when you're trans, but prison has got to be hell. But with that being said, let's head on to the next one. CoreySSG allegedly kidnapped 2 women. Corey Pritchett Jr., also known online as CoreySSG, is a 26-year-old influencer vlogger from Houston, Texas, with over 4 million subscribers on YouTube across 2 channels. He also has 4.3 million on Instagram and 300,000 on TikTok. I think a lot of those numbers are botted, but that's not the point. The point is that allegedly on November 22nd of 2024, 2 women hung out with him at the gym, and then that led to an ATV outing followed by bowling. Once at the bowling alley, the victim said Corey and his friends began acting suspicious, repeatedly looking around and appearing on edge. There, the women found out that Corey and his friends had problems with another group in the alley. After Corey left, the women texted him saying they left their bags in his car and they wanted them back. So once they met up again, Corey allegedly offered to drive them home, and that was when during the drive that Corey began acting erratically and diverted from their intended route, claiming someone was after him. The women told investigators he drove westbound on I-10 at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. Corey then pulled out a gold-colored Draco, waved it through the sunroof while driving, and fired several rounds out of the car window. The document detailed that Corey called another woman on a video chat and asked, "If I had the perfect opportunity and was in the middle of nowhere where no one could hear them scream, should I just go ahead and do it?" She reportedly replied yes. The women stated Corey told them, "I'm gonna explicit. The article says explicit, so I'm not going to fill in the gap and assume what cuss word was used. I'm gonna explicit y'all and then kill y'all. Of course, that's according to the documents. As the victims texted each other during the incident, Corey reportedly pointed the gun at both of them and took their phones to cut off communication. Documents show that Corey pulled over on the shoulder of Interstate 10 near Sealy, Texas, and reportedly told the women to get out of his car, saying, "This is your only opportunity." One woman stated she tried to reach for her cell phone but was unsuccessful. Corey then drove off, leaving them stranded at night. The women stated they spent over an hour walking along the side of the dark highway before flagging down a driver, calling 911, and being assisted by Waller County deputies. Investigators later learned Corey posted on TikTok and Instagram that he was leaving the country and starting a new life in Dubai. The FBI confirmed that Corey purchased a one-way ticket and, quote, fled to Qatar on December 9th of 2024. About a month later, Corey was arrested at a Houston airport and booked into the Harris County Jail, where his bond was set at $100,000 for each charge, totaling $200,000. So, that was all the victim's story. But Corey himself actually spoke publicly about the situation over on his TikTok. It wasn't just one post. It wasn't just 2 posts. It wasn't just 3 posts. It was 13 posts of a story time. I don't know why he didn't use the 10-minute TikTok feature, because you can make 10-minute TikToks. He kept making them 2 to 3 minutes and just kept posting and posting and posting. Either way, I'm not sure how his lawyer felt about that, but he seemed pretty confident in these clips that he's innocent. So obviously, I'm not going to play his 13-part TikTok series in my video, but I will summarize the story from his perspective. So he says he met the initial girl Ava at a club and they agreed to meet up at a gym where she introduced him to her girlfriend. Not girlfriend as relationship like girl space friend. They later went to the girl's place so they could take some clothes back to his place and change, but he noted it was weird they came with suitcases. It seemed like overkill. Anyway, fast forward to the bowling alley. Ava seemed to have a connection with the owner or something because she was able to get their group into the private area. Keep in mind, the group has now gotten bigger. Ava has invited some friends and Corey has invited some of his friends. He uses the term mob ties and I honestly don't know what he means by that, but from the way he was talking about them in his TikToks, it seems like he doesn't have a good relationship with them. Corey's friends noticed the energy shift as more uninvited guests appeared that were invited by the girls. They were getting setup vibes. Then a dispute happened where the girls and their friends wanted Corey's friends kicked out. It seemed like they wanted Corey to be alone. To fast forward a little, Corey had left the bowling alley, but the girls requested the bags they left in his car, so they met up somewhere in public to receive them. Now, this part of the story is a bit confusing because instead of just giving them their suitcases and being on his way, they ended up agreeing to go back to his place. Some people in the comments were confused about this as well, and they were saying that he let the thirst take over his mind. Anyway, while driving, he noticed the girls were really keeping tabs on what streets he was taking to get to his house. Due to this, he became suspicious and took a different route. Oddly enough, they noticed and began asking, "Why are you using a different route to get to your house?" At some point in the ride while on the freeway, one of the girls, whoever was in the passenger seat, asked Corey for his phone to put a song on. But he noticed that when she got the phone, she was tilting it so that he couldn't see what she was doing on it. Once he got it back, he instantly checked his messages and saw that she shared his location with him. So he said he played it cool and just undid it and said, oh baby, we're not doing that, and just undid it. Of course, there was a little bit of panic in the back of his head, but it wasn't until he saw 2 cars following them with their emergency lights on that he started to fully panic. So he tried his best to evade, paranoid he was being set up by the 2 girls and he was about to be robbed or even killed. So he took out his golden Draco and put it on his lap. He said he didn't aim it at any of the girls and he didn't mention anything about being on the phone with a woman, so once he lost the cars, he pulled over and kicked the girls out. He also claims that the moving to Dubai thing wasn't planned and it wasn't forced to avoid charges. It seems like the case is still ongoing and Corey is as active as ever on social media. Devon Perkins. Car accident with drunk driver that killed TikToker. So this next case isn't about a TikToker that committed a crime, but sadly is about a TikToker that was a victim of one. Alexandra Doolin, age 21, had about 900,000 followers on TikTok and 80,000 on Instagram. She was the vlogger, dancer, lifestyle type of creator. On December 11th of 2022, 24-year-old Devon Perkins, which was Allie's boyfriend, was driving as Allie was in the passenger seat and 2 more friends were in the back seat. Devon was speeding at 97 miles per hour and collided head-on with a drunk driver in a Tacoma pickup truck on State Road 44. The drunk driver, Thomas Petrie, was going the wrong way. This was an extremely upsetting series of events, leading to Allie's family taking over her Instagram page and updating us with news about the trial. So basically, both Devon and Thomas had to face consequences for their actions, but Allie's parents were fighting for justice for Devon since his speeding isn't necessarily what killed the passengers. It was more so the drunk driver going, the wrong way. I'll let Allie's father explain this in his own words.
Again, he's guilty of speeding, and we understand that, but I don't think anyone should go to prison for life for speeding. I think most of us at some point in time are guilty of speeding. If a drunk driver wasn't going the wrong direction with their headlamps off, yeah, he would have been speeding. And if he had gotten pulled over for speeding, we would be supportive of whatever charges. That's what he's guilty of, is speeding. We do not hold him responsible for the loss of life, and we don't wish to see him charged. He is dealing with enough pain. His family's dealt with enough. I can't imagine how he feels, but I know he's a fine young man, and this should not be his story that he goes to prison. So,
according to Click Orlando, their article on the topic, which was last updated on March 3rd of this year, Perkins was sentenced to 364 days in jail, but he'll receive credit for spending 162 days, so he only has to spend another 202 days behind bars. He was also sentenced to 1 year of community control, followed by 9 years of probation. He will also lose his driver's license for the next 10 years. Now the driver of the Tacoma, Thomas Petrie, pleaded no contest to charges of reckless driving involving serious bodily injury, leaving the scene of a crash with death, vehicular homicide, and leaving the scene of a crash involving serious bodily injury. Now he was sentenced to 37 years in prison. I think this case is extremely, first of all, sad, but also just, there is this bold respect that I have for these parents that have been updating people with the trial. We're able to see that it wasn't necessarily Devon's fault, like he was speeding, but what are the chances there's a drug driver heading the wrong way on the highway? And of course, the loss of losing a child will always be the worst pain imaginable. But yeah, I just have a ton of respect for these parents, and it's really nice how they update the audience on everything. And I watched a lot of their clips, and of course, not only are they emotional, that makes sense, but the way they treat Allie's fans is so sweet. But yeah, with that being said, let's head on over to the next one. Lina Lutfiawati, imprisoned for eating pork. Lina Lutfia gained millions of fans on TikTok by sharing videos of herself enjoying meals featuring fish, crab, clams, prawns, and ribs. However, on March of 2023, a video of the 33-year-old Indonesian influencer eating pork rinds drew a very different kind of attention, this time from Indonesia's top Muslim clerical body, the Ulema Council. She was sentenced to 2 years in prison and fined around $16,269 for blasphemy. The controversy stemmed not just from the consumption of pork, which is strictly forbidden in Islam, but from the fact that Lina said Bismillah, meaning in the name of Allah in Arabic. She said this before eating. Sharing such a video in Indonesia, the world's most populous Muslim-majority country, where nearly 90% of its 275 million citizens are Muslim, sparked major backlash. When Lina's actions were unusual for a nation that identifies as a secular democracy, Indonesia's blasphemy laws, under which she was prosecuted, have long been used to punish those who have insulted religious sensibilities. Following Miss Lina's sentencing, Sapriyadi Samsudin, the lawyer representing the cleric who filed the police report against her, expressed gratitude to the judges overseeing the trial. Quote, "This is simply a lesson to a citizen to protect this country, to not provoke a hubbub, and to respect each of its religious communities." Speaking to reporters after the trial, Miss Lina said she had repeatedly apologized for her actions. Quote, "I know what I did was wrong, but I didn't expect a 2-year sentence." She appeared to have no legal representation during the proceedings. On TikTok, Miss Lina, who lives in Jakarta and has business ties in India, goes by the name Lina Mukherjee. The controversial video, which wasn't posted on her official account but was available on another TikTok page, shows her in Bali, a predominantly Hindu region of Indonesia known for its tourism. Before trying the pork rinds with rice, Lina explained she's eaten pork twice before and was curious to try pork skin after seeing other reviews on it on TikTok. After taking a bite, she winces and comments, "Not as yummy as they said on TikTok. For me, it's not that special." This one's a bit interesting because by looking at her TikTok account, it seemed like she never stopped posting since March of 2023. So has someone been posting from her account? Did she not have to serve the 2 years? According to USC IRF, she's quote, not released. And yup, that description is her. So sorry to leave you guys on a weird note, but when it comes to this case, at least her imprisonment, I'm just as confused as you are. With that being said, let's head on to the next one. Sibling murderers found through someone else's TikTok. On February 25th of this year, 66-year-old Cuauhtemoc Garcia, also known as Demo, was tragically gunned down in broad daylight while walking along the Coyote Creek bike path near Don Ney Park in Cerritos, California. The shocking crime occurred at about 8 a.m. when Garcia, an active husband, father of two, and beloved local business owner, was reportedly approached by two individuals trying to rob him. When Garcia refused to hand over his car keys, one of the suspects pulled out a gun and shot him, leaving him to die at the scene. The bizarre nature of the murder stunned the community and led to an intensive investigation by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. At first, the detectives struggled to identify the perpetrators. However, a major breakthrough came not from forensic evidence or surveillance footage, but from a TikTok. Just days before Garcia's murder, a pair of tourists from Florida visiting California posted a TikTok video that unknowingly featured a crucial clue. The clip, filmed at Panera Bread in Cypress, California, captured an intense confrontation with two strangers who were caught on camera hurling racial slurs and acting aggressively toward the tourists.
What is your problem?
I don't know. You started it.
You actually started it.
You started staring.
You started it. We were sitting here minding our own business.
One of the viewers who saw the video recognized the pair and realized they resembled the suspects being sought in the Cerritos murder. The tipster contacted authorities, offering what turned out to be a critical lead. The individuals in the TikTok video were identified by police as siblings John Chong Moon, age 54, and Cindy Kim, age 58. According to the investigators, the two were living out of a Toyota Prius and had been moving between cities in Southern California. After identifying the suspects, law enforcement began tracking their vehicle. On March 9th, Fullerton police officers spotted the Prius. A pursuit ensued, ending after an undercover officer performed a pit maneuver to disable the vehicle. Moon and Kim were arrested without further incident and subsequently charged with murder and attempted second-degree robbery. Both are currently being held without bail. Their arraignment is also pending. Garcia's wife, Michelle, publicly thanked the anonymous tipster who recognized the suspects and helped bring them to justice. "You've made such a difference to a family," she said, "so we can bury my husband, at least knowing they have the people in custody." Authorities have continued to urge the public to come forward with any additional information that could assist in the investigation, and they praise the community for staying engaged and alert. Franklin Dale Jarrell threatened Kamala Harris. In February of this year, Franklin Dale Jarrell, a 59-year-old man from Jacksonville, Florida, was arrested for issuing violent threats via TikTok against former Vice President Kamala Harris and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. According to a federal criminal complaint filed in the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Florida, Jarrell used the TikTok handle @Dale.Jarrell8 to publish an alarming string of racist, violent, and threatening comments. The complaint details that on February 16th of this year, Jarrell commented on a video of Kamala Harris writing, "I'm going to blow your brains out. You won't go back home unless you're in the box. You'll never see me coming. We're real rednecks, not wannabe blank or whatever you are. We're gonna kill you. I got your IP numbers. That means I have your address, so when I come for you, you'll never see it coming, stank booty." His threats weren't just limited to Kamala Harris, though. He also posted hateful messages about Ilhan Omar. Yeah, I'm not even going to read this one, but it's up on the screen if you want to pause and read. And calling for the deaths of both women using graphic racist language. Federal authorities identified Jarrell through the TikTok account's linked email and phone number, both connected to him. The account also had a bio reading #FJB, #ProudPatriot, #resist, and listed his location as Florida. Investigators noted he had posted at least 33 videos, many containing violent rhetoric against political figures, and on February 18th, a Secret Service special agent attempted to speak with Jarrell by phone, asking if he had made the threatening posts. Jarrell immediately became aggressive, responding, "You threatened to come to my house, I will kill you straight up." This confrontation was documented in the affidavit and led to his swift arrest later that day by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. According to the complaint, Jarrell had a history of posting videos referencing weapons and militia imagery. In one clip, he stated, "She will die, and I will be the one to kill her," again referencing Kamala Harris. In another, he held up a bullet and said, "This is for you, Kamala." Jarrell was charged with transmitting interstate threats and threatening to assault or murder federal officials. He He is currently held on a $100,000 bond, and the case remains under federal investigation. I really, like this case because it just shows that, one, TikTok really be reporting their stuff, and when it comes to comments, I really do like that they go out of the way to contact legal authorities if they see someone threatening another human being, or maybe even if they're threatening animals, honestly. But either way, Jarrell now faces significant prison time if convicted. Susan Lynn Nelson, scammed using fundraisers. Susan Lynn Nelson, a 44-year-old from Richmond Hill, Georgia, is at the center of a growing financial scandal that began with a TikTok fundraiser and has now escalated to serious embezzlement charges. Her trouble started in 2023 when she became involved with TikTok community's so-called mess, a group that decided to raise money for Micah Francis Miller's family. Micah was the wife of a South Carolina pastor, and she sadly passed away. The fundraiser, which Nelson volunteered to manage, successfully brought in over $15,000. However, the Miller family only received $180. When confronted, Nelson admitted to spending the funds on alcohol and sex workers. Court records revealed she defrauded the family of nearly $16,000. This led to public outrage and drew legal scrutiny. As this case unfolded, Nelson was arrested on January 30th of 2025 and booked at the Bryan County Detention Center in Georgia. While she remained in custody without bond, new and more serious allegations came to light. On February 25th of this year, Nelson was hit with additional charges, this time involving the Richmond Hill High School Wild Kicks Booster Club, where she served as president. Prosecutors allege that over a span of 2 years, Nelson embezzled more than $81,000 from the club. They claim she used booster funds for personal expenses, such as paying wireless bills and subscribing to adult content on OnlyFans. She allegedly funneled money into her own personal and business accounts and even changed the name on the club's bank account to hide her activity. The charges include felony theft by deception for allegedly taking $51,000 through dishonest means, felony theft by conversion for misusing $9,500 of the club's money, and felony forgery for writing over 10 fictitious checks to cover her tracks. Nelson was denied bond again on February 4th, prior to the new embezzlement charges being filed. She remains behind bars as both cases continue to develop, facing serious legal consequences in Georgia and potentially in South Carolina as well. Here's a clip of her admitting these things and being called out on a TikTok live stream.
It's me. Yes, I have an issue and I am seeking treatment. I'm actually I'm outpatient right now.
I just want to make it clear because people had I want to make it clear that every fundraiser, every single thing that was done was Sue's idea, and every single thing that was done as far as fundraising went only to Sue's accounts and no one else's.
That's correct. She's correct. But do not involve anyone with so-called mess at all. As a matter of fact, I lied to them and I made them feel as though I had everything under control when in reality I did not. And when I say everything, I mean the funds that were donated. I will say that all funds donated that have not been refunded will be, plus a size donation, will be given to the family via EFT, which is their Zephy, electronic funds transfer, by next Friday. I have let them know. So all money that has come in will be given to them by next Friday.
Preston Pickett threatened illegal immigrants. In January of this year, 58-year-old Preston Pickett from Southport, Indiana, was arrested and charged with felony intimidation after making a series of violent racist threats on TikTok targeting undocumented immigrants. Between January 12th and 14th, Pickett posted a barrage of alarming comments and videos, including statements like, "Come January 20th, I will shoot you on sight. I don't check IDs, so you're all illegal to me," and "I will have my kills on first day Trump takes office." These threats appeared alongside images of firearms and captions referencing Inauguration Day, which Pickett associated with Donald Trump's potential return to office. At the time, it was a potential return. The FBI's Extract team was alerted by TikTok's Emergency Response Unit. Working with the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department, agents used the IP address and account data to link the threats to Pickett. Investigators discovered not only threatening posts, but also that Pickett had participated in TikTok live streams where he made similar violent threats in real time. On one stream, he declared, "I'm going to shoot illegals," while in another, he threatened to execute mass violence against immigrants. On January 16th, police arrived at Pickett's residence. He emerged yelling at officers, accusing them of, quote, protecting illegals, and asserting that his statements were protected under the First Amendment. He also questioned whether the Second Amendment gave him the right to act violently against what he considered foreign and domestic terrorists. Authorities searched his home and seized 2 long guns and an iPhone. Although TikTok had been deleted from the device, forensic analysis revealed recent activity on the app. The investigation also uncovered a troubling history of threats. In November of 2023, Pickett allegedly called in a threat to shoot employees at the Marion County Prosecutor's Office, and in March of 2024, he reportedly threatened to, quote, shoot up a Florida car wash. He was booked into the Marion County Jail on a $100,000 cash bond and appeared in court on January 24th with another hearing set for March. Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears emphasized that threats targeting individuals based on immigration status are serious and illegal, stating, "We cannot tolerate this kind of hate." Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you think I earned your subscription, then click that subscribe button. And if you think I presented the information in an easily digestible way, pause, then make sure to leave a like. I upload a bunch of morbid videos, so if you like that, make sure to check out the rest of the videos on my channel. And you know what, why not? I'll shout out my Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at @mynameIsTuv, and make sure to like my pictures. Matter of fact, go follow me on Twitter too, at @mynameIsTuv with 2 V's. I be posting there sometimes. With all that being said, I will see you guys next time I upload.